Hi everyone! Today we'll be learning about psychological disorders. More specifically, anxiety disorders today, which is a subtopic of psychological disorders. So there are different types of anxiety disorders that we will be discussing. The first one is general anxiety disorders. The second one would be phobias. The third would be obsession-compulsive disorder, also known as OCD. And the last one we will be talking about is post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, sorry about the writing, it's a little choppy. This is a new stylus that I'm using, so it's not that great. So you will be seeing that my writing's not so much fluid, so sorry about that in advance. Okay, so let's start with the first anxiety disorder that we're going to be discussing today, which is general anxiety disorders. So, general anxiety disorders, it's anxiety about almost everything, almost all the time. It is very frequent, you're very frequently anxious almost all the time, and it's uncontrollable. And an example of a general anxiety disorder would be something like germophobia, where people are constantly anxious because they believe there's germs all over their hands, and so they might wash their hands constantly because they believe there's germs all over their hands. So in this case, general anxiety disorder is just a general anxiety about numerous different things at almost a constant frequency. The second anxiety disorder is phobias. And these are just anxiety that are focused on something specific. So something specific. They can be disruptive if they are thought about on a daily basis. And one of these phobias can be something like social phobia, where someone is intensely terrified to be out in public, so they are afraid of criticism, rejection, or even being judged by people. So think of it this way, a phobia is an anxiety but on something specific. The next anxiety disorder that we will be talking about is OCD, obsessive-compulsive disorder. Okay? So I'm not going to write out the full name here, but it's OCD for short form. So this disorder is correlated with very unwanted, repetitive, and uncontrollable intrusive thoughts. And OCD, it has two components. You have the obsessions and you have the compulsions. Obsession here is persistent intrusive thoughts. So whether this could be, so let's go back to the example of germophobia. Maybe these thoughts are intrusive, that maybe the germs are going to harm them in some way, so they're constantly reappearing in their head, like there's germs all over my hands. And so the compulsion part, the second part to it, is these repetitive actions that go along with the intrusive thoughts. So in this case, it would be you are constantly anxious that you have germs on your hands, so you constantly wash your hands, put hand sanitizer on your hands in order to alleviate the tension that are caused by these unwanted repetitive thoughts. And treatment that goes along with OCD, sorry about that. We won't talk about the specific treatment, but all we will say is that the treatment can overall decrease the anxiety. Okay? And the last anxiety disorder that we will be mentioning today is PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And these are intense feelings of shock, horror after a traumatic event has occurred. So this is commonly found in soldiers or even child soldiers at a young age. And it can be very overwhelming. And this intense feeling can run over and over again. And it can be triggered actually by certain objects that remind them of the traumatic event. And so these memories of the traumatic event can last a lifetime. And what is basically happening is that your nervous system is super aroused after this has occurred. And so it has an increase of anxiety, which causes the lack of sleep in the people that experience post-traumatic stress disorder. So that is all we're going to be covering today. The next topic we're going to be focusing on is basically mood disorders. So please tell me if you like this video or not, and let me know if there's something else you want me to cover. So thanks and have a good day.